the Dallas Mavericks get the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. Cooper Flagg, his flag will fly in Dallas. Conspiracies, changes, everything will happen for the Mavericks now. Let's talk about all that and more in today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm going to get a city of life back.
Dogs, all of us, all 5.
You are Locked On Mavs.
Great, Rusty.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast.
No one's dying.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave me alone.
Your team every day.
Gotta be born with the dog blood.
Let's go, baby! Let it ride. And welcome. You're locked on to the Dallas Mavericks, your team every day. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member covering the Dallas Mavericks for 10 years. Thanks for being an everydayer, making Locked On Mavs your first listen. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets on your first $5 bet wins. Joining me, as always, my co-host, media member covering the Dallas Mavericks for 10 years, right alongside me, the flag fiend, the one more thing king. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
When heaven meets earth like a sloppy wet kiss, and my heart turns violently inside of my chest.
I don't have time to maintain these regrets when I think about the way
I think about
the Mavs get the number 1 pick in the
Dallas,
NBA
baby.
draft. We'll talk about what it changes. We'll talk about what Cooper Flagg brings to the Mavs. We'll get into all of it, but let's just da-da-da-da. Listen. Ownership and the front office, they may not deserve this. But you know who does? You. A Dallas Mavericks fan, listen to this right now. Absolutely deserves to have good things happen in your life after the season the Mavs just went through. After being at the mountaintop of the NBA Finals, having a star to build around, and then all of a sudden, it getting pulled out from under you the next season because of reasons that have not been explained very well or not been explained well enough through multiple press conferences and secret meetings and all kinds of different things and the way that it was handled afterwards. Mavs fans deserve this in a way that I don't think many other fan bases did. Lots of people are going to be upset about this, that it's happening. We've already seen our friend Bill Simmons with these, come on, F this message on Twitter. We've seen a lot of people respond to this. And for the Mavericks, this is the first time they've moved up ever in the history of the Dallas Mavericks. If there's ever a time for you to believe that the NBA is rigged in any kind of way, to believe that maybe there were some other kind of motivations behind the Luka Doncic trade in any way, to send a star player to the Lakers in any kind of possible way. This is the outcome that would happen. The only one. This is Doctor Strange holding up the one finger in so many different ways. This is Doctor Strange holding up the one that he looked up 14 million different kinds of scenarios that could happen. And this is the one. This is the one that makes it better for Mavericks fans. This is the one that makes it better for the franchise, for the city, makes it better for everybody involved. And there's so many ramifications that we'll unpack throughout the rest of this month, the rest of this year, up until the season starts. We'll talk about it. There's so many different things. But for now, Cooper Flagg will play for the Dallas Mavericks. He's one of the best prospects we've seen since Anthony Davis, Zion. Like, you're talking about a guy this good, that is supposed to be this good. And Isaac, he plays defense.
He does play defense. I think I was very clear on, I thought he was a better prospect than Zion. So, yeah, just coming out at his size, what he can. We get to talk about Cooper Flagg, man. Like, it's so crazy to think about. I mean, we've been doing this podcast long enough. We're the longest running Mavs podcast that's been doing this daily out there. All right. So we've been doing this pod daily since Dennis Smith Jr. draft. We were there for all the Luka draft stuff and Luka draft night. And it just one of those moments that you'll never forget. I mean, this was basically draft night for the Mavs in a way.
Yeah.
And to get a guy like Cooper Flagg, it just changes everything. You know,
Yes.
If I get the frustration towards the front office, and it's like, dude, this sucks. Like, they don't deserve it. They may, all this stuff. I get all of that. I get the conspiracy theory stuff. I mean, heck, listen to our podcast from yesterday in which we're like joking about the conspiracy theories if Dallas wins it, and that's all that we'll hear about. I get all of that. But if this fan base ever needed this right now, it's right now. Like, these fans, the Mavericks fans in Dallas didn't have anything to do with what happened with the Luka trade and ripping their hearts out and taking your star player away from you. But man, like, what a win. Like, what a win to be able to bring in a new guy, a new stud of a player that is just, I mean, yeah, you want to win now? He helps you win now. You want a defensive team because you believe defense wins championships? He helps you do that. You want a young piece that's going to be here past Kyrie and Anthony Davis? Yes, I believe that. He's going to be that. Like, all of the stuff in one there. And now your fan base can get captivated by a new young star player that can play on the wing too. That, I mean, I'm fascinated by Cooper Flagg, Anthony Davis lineups.
Yeah.
It's just, it changes everything.
It changes so much. It changes so many different things. It changes how the Mavs look at their team right now. I think Cooper Flagg makes this team right now. If Kyrie Irving comes back, he's got a player option. Kyrie Irving comes back. Anthony Davis is there. Whenever they're healthy, it helps them right now. Cooper Flagg can help in so many ways on offense as a playmaker. I've speculated that the Mavs, their need for a playmaker kind of goes down a little bit when you get Cooper Flagg, because he can make some plays. Anthony Davis can. You've got all these different types of playmakers. They'd have to play a different type of offense than like the one player pounds the rock that we've seen in the past, or that a lot of teams have been running. But you get a 6'9" player with a 7'1" wingspan who is going to be 18 and a half at the draft. He reclassified, so he's young too. He's coming in. He's coming in younger than Luka did when the Mavs got him. And so you get this young guy who's ready to win right now. This is the one sentence explainer from Rafael Barlow, Locked On NBA Big Board, which now will be an everyday listen. That will be an everyday listen for us whenever they talk about Cooper Flagg. He said, at 6'9", Flagg brings a combination of skill, versatility, and explosive athleticism that fills arenas and can handle the ball and operate at the high post, where he's a gifted playmaker, showcasing a knack for finding open cutters and easy scoring opportunities. Then he says, on the defensive end is where Flagg is special. He's the most dominant high school defender I've ever scouted and epitomizes the term game changer.
I love watching ACC basketball. I've hate watched Duke for many years of my life. But Duke is, kind of become the place where these star players are going. And so watching this Duke team this past year was a lot of fun, and tuning in for a lot of times to watch a Cooper Flagg, and he is just that good, just that good on both sides of the ball. Just that, I mean, the help defense stuff, some of the on ball stuff. I mean, he started having the ball in his hands and trying to, take over games and stuff, later on. It was just, I don't know how to even process a 1.8% chance.
The Mavs had a 1.8% chance. You think that?
I mean, we lost our minds whenever, they got skipped over, which the thing to think about this too, they landed at 11 by a coin toss. They were tied with Chicago.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They won the coin toss. They got the 11th spot. Chicago got the 12th spot. And by landing at that 11th spot, obviously jumped up to one there. But when it goes to the commercial break and the four teams, you're like, holy crap. We were in a live show with other people in Locked On Network, and David Locke was in there. David had a whole Cooper Flagg montage that he played before the lottery started with the jazz mock-ups and all the stuff, and just kind of rubbing in our faces. And they landed at 5 and we got Flagg. So I asked him to redo that mock-up with the Mavs jersey. So that'd be good.
You're going to see a bunch of Photoshops. You're going to see a bunch of things. And Cooper Flagg's going to bring in a different fan base now to the Mavericks that is going to follow him from Duke. It's obviously a huge fan base there. We also got Cooper Flagg and Dereck Lively. And that, even after Anthony Davis is gone, could be a front court of the future for the Mavericks. There's so many different ways that we can look at this. Let's talk about what Cooper Flagg will bring to the Dallas Mavericks and all that. Let's talk about that and more coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs is brought to you by Hungerroot. Hungerroot is there for you when you are dealing with all kinds of different things. When you're so happy that you get Cooper Flagg that you're like, hey, I don't want to think about anything else. I just want to watch Cooper Flagg highlights and tape and all that kind of stuff. And you're like, I don't want to think about meals, but I want to have meals that are good for me and all that. Hungerroot is like having your own personal shopper and nutritionist wrapped into one. They take care of grocery shopping and meal planning, offering personalized recommendations based on your tastes and health goals. The meals come together in 15 minutes or less. You can do it. You can do 15 minutes, right? Giving you more time for all kinds of different stuff like watching Cooper Flagg film. Take advantage of this exclusive deal. Get 40% off your first box plus a free item in every box for life. Go to hungerroot.com/lockedonnba. Use that code LOCKEDONNBA. That's hungerroot.com/LOCKEDONNBA. Code LOCKEDONNBA for 40% off and a lifetime item for free at hungerroot.com/LOCKEDONNBA. We're also brought to you by Monarch Money. You're going to want to buy some Mavericks tickets now. I can hear so many of you making a U-turn coming back to the AAC because you want to now watch the Dallas Mavericks. And if you're going to do that, I think tickets are going to be a little bit more expensive, which also sucks. But you got to manage that money to be able to know what games you can go to, how much money you can spend, all that kind of stuff on a Cooper Flagg jersey or whatever. Check Monarch Money. It's not just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center so you can track your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. You can stop just managing your money and start building wealth. The Mavs are building wealth now with Cooper Flagg, which is wild. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com to get 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. All kinds of great stuff with Monarch Money. I use it. Again, monarchmoney.com. Code is LOCKEDONNBA, all one word, to get 50% off your first year at Monarch Money.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad. That's what we call our listeners, listening every day. We appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show. We are a daily show. We'll be daily all throughout the summer. Obviously, now we'll be doing Summer League. Hopefully, Cooper Flagg plays there. We'll be doing all that. Also, if you want to support the show, text us, get text alerts from us and all kinds of stuff like that. Rumors, all kinds of things like that. Subscribe to our Locked On Mavs text line, be an insider, 214-643-8637, or click the link in the description. I'm going to send out my Cooper Flagg draft profile that I did. I'll send that out today on there. So again, subscribe to the text line. All right, Isaac. Cooper Flagg, incredible player. What does he bring to the Dallas Mavericks right now?
I mean, the two-way stuff. I mean, as much as, there's no comp to him and Luka, as much as people are going to want to do this.
Completely different players.
And all this, just completely different players. Luka is your initiator, point guard, run the offense, everything. Cooper's just a different type of player. I mean, he's bigger. He's, plays more. He does play more defense. I mean, you're going to hear that a lot, especially with what Nico has been really touting a lot as far as the defensive side and two-way, stuff. This is what Cooper Flagg brings. And you said this in the first segment, but I think it's just, another thing to point out here that Cooper Flagg has been one of those prospects that when they start coming up through their draft classes, they're like, oh, that's the Flagg draft draft. And, there was some question at the very beginning of the season, like, hey, would Ace Bailey challenge him for that? Because they're both these bigger scorers on the wings and stuff. But then Cooper Flagg just eliminated all of that with just an insane college basketball season and all of that stuff. They almost, go and win a national championship, but they come up short of that. He misses a shot in that, which, it's going to stay with him forever. But to show you another sense of how good Cooper Flagg is, if you remember, you go back to Team USA training camp and before the Paris games, and you're talking about the best American players in the world. Cooper Flagg gets invited as a college player. You only see that, you don't see that very often, right? Like you see, I remember Anthony Davis getting that back in the day, but so there's already probably a relationship there because Kyrie was at that camp, Anthony Davis is at that camp. There's some type of relationship already there that he already knows in Anthony Davis or Kyrie Irving and stuff like that because he's just that good of a player. So it's insane, man. It really is. Can I ask a bigger question though? Back to you. I said this on yesterday's podcast, and I think we both had differing opinions on this because I have so many messages right now about Nico Harrison.
Yeah.
If there's ever a time for ownership to say, like, all right, we can make the move, we can let him go, now would be the time, right? You won the draft lottery. Whoever's coming in to run the franchise would be like, you're getting Cooper Flagg. And whether you want to keep on the timeline or get off the timeline, this is your, like, you don't have to follow that, once you make that trade and you're set up for that timeline, you kind of see it of like, well, you kind of like, if you're Patrick DeMai, like, all right, well, I let him make the trade. I got to see if something comes from it or whatever. You don't have to follow any of that now. Even though we all agree that probably already should have happened, it's just like, now's your time. You really could just reset everything.
Our thing with Nico has always been on this show you've got to run it out now. This is your thing. You've created this. This is your like path that you've set out, right? That he decided, I'm going to bet everything on Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis. Now you have a whole other branch of the timeline, right? This is the Marvel, like, it's like, the different timelines. Now there's a branch that comes off of it. And so now you can follow that branch and decide, all right, let's be a rebuilding team now. We've got it. You've got the best you could have ever hoped from a Luka trade. If you thought the best package you ever could have got would include this number 1 pick, right? Would you have traded Luka straight up for the number 1 pick?
No,
probably not. But it's the closest thing that it made you think about it for a second, right? Everybody listening, probably you sat and thought about it for a second, or you just yelled at me.
Well, it's just, what Luka has already accomplished and his age.
Agreed.
Like you hope that Cooper Flagg can be,
agreed.
5-time All NBA, all the stuff.
First team.
And be in the finals and all this stuff. But
agreed. Yeah, for sure. Agreed. But now you have this branch where you can go, all right, well, let's turn off here and become a rebuilding team with Cooper Flagg, Dereck Lively. We've got a few picks.
Max.
Got a few picks here, Max Christie. We got a few picks here. We can do that. And we can trade Anthony Davis for some more stuff. And all of a sudden now we become an even more attractive, like, young team. And even a young team like the Pistons that have some, win now players already, so that you can, all right, well, let's all of a sudden leap forward in our rebuilding process. And now it's not as bleak as, all right, well, next year, if Anthony Davis doesn't, or if he stays, hopefully he stays healthy, Kyrie come back. Now we're just, we're treading on this couple year window thing. But you could do that. I don't think that they will. I think that this is a get out of jail free card for him. I've been saying that. This is now this is his rookie quarterback, where now all of a sudden, the GMs in the NFL will get this rookie quarterback and it'll buy them like 2 or 3 years. Because they can just say, well, we're developing this rookie quarterback. Well, we're developing this. And they lose a couple seasons. And then by like the 3rd or 4th season, now it's maybe like the 2nd season. It's much quicker in the NFL. But now by like, the 3rd or 4th season, you're like, okay, that's worn off. But it buys them a couple more years. And I think that's what happened with Nico here. Because I think that's the way that ownership will look at it.
Yeah, probably. I agree with you that that's probably going to be the case. It's just, this whole time that the city and everybody has been, the Fire Nico stuff has become the slogan ever since the Luka trade. And you kind of not really understood, but it's like, if you're Dumont and you're kind of seeing everything, like he's kind of attached to Nico right now, like where they're in it together and all this stuff. It felt like to me, like this was one of the things that could happen that would be like, all right, now we could make it move. And it like makes like sense more. But I don't think it happened. I agree with you. I think they probably just stay the course with it. And I mean, and you look at even, roster building stuff, how much Nico values size at the positions. I mean, they're going to be able to roll out a lineup of Dereck Lively, Anthony Davis, and Cooper Flagg as your front line. What happens with, PJ Washington? Hey, PJ, you're coming off the bench in a contract year.
A lot of big questions.
There's PJ's already dropped the eyes emoji on Twitter, which is probably like, hey, positive. Like, whoa, we got the pick here type of thing. But it's insane. I don't think you're taking Cooper Flagg, a prospect like that, to say, hey, you want to be 6th man next year? And I mean, he'd probably be down, because one of my favorite things, might be my favorite thing about Cooper Flagg, is the dog in him. This guy he plays with so much passion and feeds into the crowd. He's not the like go down to the floor, do the, not that type of like, there's different types of emotions and passion on the floor, but this dude gives
Effort.
everything he has. And it feels like we can't. I feel like people are trying to read into everything you say positive about him. Like, oh, you're trying to take shots at Luka. It's not taking shots at Luka. It's just praising the player that he is. He busts his butt on both ends of the floor. He plays with passion. He's going to be, just yelling on the court. Like, just like, that's what you want to see, man. Like, and he's going to be in Dallas.
Coming up, could the Mavs screw this up?
Come on.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by FanDuel. That tease was for Isaac and Isaac only. The NBA playoffs are in full swing. Everything is happening right now in the playoffs. Go check it out on FanDuel. There's all kinds of great things that you can do and check out. Do they have any draft odds? I don't think they have any draft odds because it's just too obvious what's going to happen. Cooper Flagg, the number one pick, is minus 100,000. You have to bet $100,000 to win $100 for Cooper Flagg to win any money on Cooper Flagg being the number one pick. That is just absolutely hilarious. Minus 100,000 is the craziest odds I've ever seen. But you can put down $5 on that and that'll absolutely happen. And then all of a sudden you can get $200 in bonus bets because that bet will win. So this is the no-brainer I guess you could do. You won't win much money on the $5. But if you're new to FanDuel, it's a perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com. Place your first $5 bet on minus 100,000 that Cooper Flagg will be the number one pick. You'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Isaac. Can the Mavs screw this up in any way? Is this an absolute no-brainer? There's just no question about it. Cooper Flagg will be the number one pick and the Mavs will keep it.
No question. Should be zero question at all. 0%, sir. Like you don't trade this pick. You take it. I mean, unless San Antonio calls and offers Wemby.
Wow. Yeah. That's a show we'll probably do is how many players would you trade this pick for?
I'm just saying you should be hanging up on everything. This is the type of player that you build around for a long time, and you had one of those. You get another swing at it now, a new white guy, and it's like don't mess this up. There's nothing to trade down for. Like I get it. San Antonio's gonna call with that number 2 pick and probably all their stuff if they miss out on Giannis and try to offer everything to move up one spot. You don't do it. You take Cooper Flagg. He's that type of guy.
Giannis?
No. Take Cooper Flagg.
You don't even think about it?
I mean, you think about it, but I think you just take Flagg and be done with it. Like,
will Nico Harrison think about it with his timeline? Because for him, it was
are you asking me or are you asking about Nico? Because I can't predict anything.
I was gonna say you gave your answer, but for Nico, now all of a sudden you look at this and you go, all right, well, what if is he still gonna stick to his 3-year window with his 3-year contract and try and do that? Now all of a sudden, is he looking at this pick saying, This is my ticket to building the team that I dreamed of?
That's a new type of protest that would be happening.
We would protest all over again
in the streets. Yeah, I mean, if you give up Cooper Flagg to lean even more into this window, and you call up and you're like, hey, Sacramento, I think Sabonis would be. It's like what? Like, no, there's no realistic thing out there that you're offering this pick for. You take him and be done with it.
This sets you up for now, and it sets you up for the future. That's it.
And you have, you hope that Anthony Davis is fully healthy and all the stuff, but no matter what path you take now, let's say next week Dumont comes out and fires Nico and gives somebody else the keys and says, all right, we're going to go a different direction. Like, we're going to slow the timeline down and build around our young guys. Well, now you have a front court pairing in the 2 Duke guys and Dereck Lively and Cooper Flagg. That's going to be amazing to build around. Let's say Nico stays for a handful of years, and it's like, it doesn't matter what timeline you're on right now. He fits it. Think about the playoff experience he can get next year if you bring back this whole team. I mean, they can make a deep run in the playoffs And we're talking rookie year Cooper Flagg getting run in the, in the playoffs, playing with Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving, 2 players that have won titles, and a Klay Thompson. Like the experience that he's going to walk into compared to, hey, you could be walking into DC with Bub Carrington and Alex Sarr. So now you get to walk in with Kyrie Irving, AD, and Klay Thompson with all their experience and rings, and you get to talk about how to win titles and stuff. Like, that's going to do wonders for his career.
Insane. Yeah, that he now gets to be a part of a win now team that also hopefully can move on after the win now players have moved on. We'll see what happens with that. There's a couple years to do that. But
one more thing. I have a serious question. The next time we talk to Nico Harrison, I'm going to ask this question, which I'm sure he'll love for me to ask another question. But it's like, how can the fan base trust you with a new young star? Like, I feel like there's probably a lot of people out there, families out there. What if I'm like talking to my son tomorrow, and it's like, hey, the Mavericks have a new guy. We got to get a new jersey. And what if what if he leaves like Luka? I think that's a valid question that Nico probably needs the answer for some fans out there. That's like, hey, this is cool. They got Cooper Flagg, but we also got attached to the last guy and you sent him out of town. So like, can I get attached to this guy? Like, should I get attached to him? And it sucks that that's kind of like the damage that's been done, but I feel like there's probably a lot of people in that boat, and Nico's going to have a job to do with that, already repairing the fan base's trust. But hey, I don't know what he can do or say to try to say it's not going to be like that. He plays defense. I mean, is that what he's?
I think the question is, can you build around Cooper Flagg for the next 10 years? And then see what his answer says about that. See what he says about that.
Does he fit the culture?
Does he? Does he know? He may not know yet.
He's probably going to love him for the first 2 years because he's not allowed to drink beer.
No, he's going to be 18 and a half.
Yeah.
So like 2.5 years, basically. Yeah. Insane. The Locked On NBA chat is saying we should actually be congratulating the Bucks because the Mavs are going to trade it to Milwaukee for Giannis.
I mean, I can honestly see Nico doing that for sure.
I could too. I could see him do anything now.
I mean, I could. Yeah, I could.
If that does happen, you're getting a 3-time MVP player.
Yeah, it would. Yes, it would be awesome to watch Giannis for sure.
Still need more guards.
Yeah.
Still have the same kind of problem, but
point Giannis.
Absolutely wild. Fan base deserve this.
Shout out to the fans. Fans are the biggest winners, and the social media team for the Mavs.
Yeah. All those people that had to deal with all the backlash that they didn't cause and all that.
Yeah. I'm so happy for so many of the Mavs employees that's not the front office, and just from season ticket sales, the people who had just really went through the ringer this past year, and had nothing to do with it in that trade. People who produce content, make stuff, like hopefully there's like a little renewed passion, joy that is like, oh, we get to do this stuff about Cooper Flagg now, and the fans should be like behind it and stuff. And I did see a quote tonight from Rick Welts from the lottery, and he said he was in the room 40 years ago whenever the Knicks got the Ewing pick, and so now he gets to handle these talks. So
that is wild. So he showed him how to freeze the envelope. He showed him how to. That's what I said yesterday on the show, didn't I? To paint the ping pong balls with certain heavy paint, so they'll fall down to the bottom. That's what I said, right?
Yeah.
So much more content from us all through this summer. We'll be talking about Cooper Flagg. We'll be talking about the ramifications. We'll be talking about the things that happen to the Mavericks now and everything. So stick with us. Subscribe to the text line. Get texts from us all throughout the offseason. Check the link in the description and all that. Guys, thanks for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.